All right, YouTubers, let's get it going this morning. Yesterday, I had a conversation with my client, one I told you about in a previous video, where we saw some shenanigans, some bait and switch that a debt collector is doing to his, well, he's being sued. He has a court summons. In his area, they call it an affidavit complaint. Coming to court over a Capital One account, a couple of accounts. But there's some problems with the way that they filed the lawsuit, or the proposed suit, the beginnings of the lawsuit, the summons and complaints, to get answers from him. But if you are of sound mind, where you don't get where you get all emotional, which is why you need to seek help from professionals or people that can look at it for what it is. There were several problems with the summons that they sent, that an actual attorney actually swore to the court. And it's going to be so simple to, number one, get this dismissed, and then number two, he's going to be able to recover damages because they broke the law on what they did. So first, let's talk about it. I'm going to walk you through here. So it could be a court summons, court affidavit complaint, court answers to summons complaint. It can go by different names, but they all mean the same thing. It's basically to call you in the court to answer to a debt that a company is suing you for, and the company will usually have their attorney do it, or they, if it's a debt collector, they'll be doing it, or they'll be assigning it to a debt collector in that area. So the things that I tell people to watch out for, you got to watch out for this. Number one, when you're looking at that summons complaint, you do not want to call them and talk to them about anything until you understand exactly what's going on with your situation. Because there's certain times that you want to call. We had a situation where a lady had watched one of my YouTube videos, and she was disabled, out of work, and I just told her to simply make a call to debt collector to notify them, and lo and behold, hours later, everything was canceled, no court. Well, they did go to court, but they said that they were going to send it back to the original creditor. She showed up in court. As soon as they asked her name, they said dismissed. And you can look up that video that I talked about that, about how we were able to get that done by simply telling her what to say when she called a debt collector. But moving forward on this one, you don't want to call them until you know what's going on. And what's going on is, in this situation, this young man has a job. He had a couple of credit cards that went bad, and they're suing him for them. They have a right to do that. You can't run from debt that is collectible, but they have to follow the law to be able to collect it. So now, things that you must do this. You got to read it, and you got to calm down and read it, and then read it again, and read it again, read it again. And when you're reading it, don't read it as if someone is trying to do something to you. Read it for what it is, and then think about solutions for everything that they're asking in there. Some of the stuff is just asking, that you live at this address, or that you did have a credit card with a certain company or an account with a certain company. Those are obvious answers that you're going to say yes to. What they're basically doing is trying to set you up, like, hey, you say yes to this, yes to this, yes to this, and then deeper down in the summons, where they start to talk about specific things with pertaining to that debt is where all of their case can actually fall apart, which is what happened with this one. So you need to answer their question. You need to respond with your questions, and I'm going to show you in this document how you do that. And then you need to make your court appearance unless it gets canceled. I'll put that on there. All right, I'm going to be blurring out some stuff on here because you don't want to, mess up anything, especially because this one is actually still going to be going into court next week, and we don't want to screw up anything on it. But basically, when you make the response, you put the date, because in his state, he had a 30-day response. This was a weird one. With the court, well, no, not really. With the court summons, you do have a certain period of time that you have to respond, or they're just going to proceed and have a court date. And so, but most of the time I've had it to where they would have the court date and you had to respond. This one was kind of different. You had to respond and then they were going to make a court date. So, you're going to put the date. You're going to have the attorney's office that's handling the case, that's representing the plaintiff. You're going to put what you're responding to and what accounts. You're going to put your court, the number, the case number for the court. You need to put that in there. It's usually in the right top corner of the summons. And then simply do this. After reviewing, and I'm just going to read it here, after reviewing your court summons, I have some concerns about the validation of the summons, the validity of the summons, I'm sorry. And we look here, according to my credit reports, Capital One Bank USA NA sold my accounts to Portfolio Recovery. See attachment A. So I'm going to go right here to attachment A, and we can see right here. Now, it shows here that it was collection charge off. These are updated. It says last reported, so this isn't actually when it charged off. But now, right here is where the problem starts, and that's why I tell people you got to get your credit reports, because you need all of that data so you will know what to be, what you're facing. That's why you can't be emotional when you're reading these summons. You need to be in a solution-oriented mindset. And we can see right here, when we looked at this account, it says here, right here, sold to Portfolio Recovery Associates. Sold. And it had it on his other account. So now, Portfolio Recovery Associates was not mentioned in your civil summons, and you didn't disclose that information to the court when preparing your civil summons. Respectfully, I'm also requesting the following documentation, which is my right under the Fair Debt Collection Act. Proof of contract from the original creditor showing my signature to start the relationship with Capital One USA NA. You have a right to get that. They cannot just say you had the debt. Then that means anyone could say you had the debt or you had the credit card. Even the original creditor must maintain all of those documents. It is the law. People don't know this, but you have a right to ask that. Even if the creditor, original creditor, was really suing him for the money, they would still have to prove that in court. They would have to bring that documentation if you ask for it. Only if you ask for it. Now, the next thing is payment history, including my signatures for all charges claimed from the use of the credit instrument. I'm disputing the amount shown on the summons, because he said the amount on the summons he does not recollect. Have you heard that in court? We heard that a lot. I don't recollect owing this amount. I don't recollect charging that amount. Make them prove all of the amounts, and then you want to get the signatures for each charge, or if it's some type of a PIN number. You need proof of all of that. They have to keep that. They can't just come up with numbers. Now, the next thing, proof of contract with Glasser and Glasser PLC to collect a debt that is not shown to be owned by portfolio recovery, that is shown to be owned by portfolio recovery. So this is him making them prove that portfolio actually hired them, not Capital One. Are you seeing how this is really getting juicy? This right here will get this thrown out of court. Proof of contract with Glasser and Glasser PLC. This is, he wants proof of contract that he has to pay Glasser and Glasser. Glasser and Glasser is saying that Capital One is suing, but Glasser and Glasser has no relationship with Capital One. They have a relationship with Portfolio Recovery Associates. It shows it on the credit reports right here. So we have an affidavit that is filed with the court that is a lie. That is a straight up lie. They're going to have to say in court that it is actually owned by Portfolio, and that Portfolio bought the debt, and Portfolio hired Glasser and Glasser to go after the money for that debt. Or Glasser and Glasser maybe had paid and bought the debt. You don't know what's going to come out of this here. This line here, you don't know. All types of things are going to be opened up, because number one, court is going to wonder, if you get a judge that is following the law, is going to say, why didn't you disclose that to me? Why didn't you disclose it to me? And then the next thing is, why didn't you disclose Portfolio Recovery Associates? Oh, we bought it from them. Okay, well then why did you put Citibank USA NA? Okay, even if they for some reason tried to allow them to move forward with that, but I'm pretty sure that they will not. You asked for all of the information that I had up here, and they won't be able to provide it. They're going to have to go back to Portfolio. Portfolio won't have it. They're going to have to go back to Capital One Bank USA, and they won't even deal with them, because they're going to say, we gave you all of the information and you need to move forward. We're out of it. We've taken your money and we're out of the game. So the next thing here, moving forward, statements showing Portfolio Recovery Associates relationship with Capital One Bank USA NA, because it was purchased. We want to see if they're going to admit to what they have right here. What capital are they going to say that their client that they bought debt from lied when they put this on here? Are they going to actually say that? No. How did they get my and let me read this again. Statement showing Portfolio Recovery Associates relationship with Capital One Bank USA NA. How did they get my personal data if Glasser and Glasser PLC claims in a civil summons to be suing me for Capital One Bank USA NA? How did they get my personal information? How did Portfolio get my personal information? Because they're going to reveal it right here that Portfolio owns it. If Glasser and Glasser claims to be in the civil judgment to be suing me for Capital One Bank USA NA. Boy, oh boy. So that's where this is at right now. I'm going to let you know what happens. You know what happens in the end with this, but I'm pretty confident what's going to happen when we go into court with these answers. Well, he's dropping them off directly to the debt collector. They're probably going to dismiss the whole thing. I mean, that's the easy way out for them, is just to say, hey, this is pennies on the dollar. Yeah, we could have had a big hit, but we're in some trouble here, and we better just dismiss this, and this isn't going to work. This isn't going to work. So I'll let you know what happens with this court summons and his responses. If you need any help, make sure that you reach out to us, post your comments. thecreditrepairshop.com, always here to help. Make sure you just subscribe to my page, to my YouTube page here. Please subscribe, please share it with your friends, family, and other people. I really appreciate it. And until next time, you have a great day. And let me leave you with some motivation. Not making a decision is making a decision. A lot of people do not understand that. Even when I heard it years ago, it didn't quite sink in. But some of the times we think that if we don't do something, that meant that we didn't do something, or we didn't do anything. That is not true. When you decide not to do something, when you are trying to make a decision on changing your life, health, wealth, relationships, when you decide not to do nothing, you're actually doing something. You're doing nothing, and nothing is something. It lets you sit in the decisions that you've made in the past. So always make it a point to make a decision consciously. Even if you are not going to make changes, you need to let your mind, you need to let your body, you need to let your subconscious know the reasons why you're not making a decision, or the reasons better than that is why you are staying the same. Give yourself that reason, because if you don't, you're going to give a signal to your body, give a signal to your mind, give a signal to your brain, give a signal to your subconscious that what you are experiencing is acceptable to you. You need to give your subconscious, your mind, and your body reasons why you are choosing to stay the same, and that's because you're going to be making changes in the future in a different way, or you're waiting for the answer, but you cannot leave it. And I know that that's confusing the way that I'm saying it, but it will come to you if you just think about it. Think about it. It will come to you, and you'll understand what I'm saying, because I used to fall into that trap a lot, thinking that if you make no decision and you just let it go and say, I'm just not going to make a decision, that is a decision. And you're training your body not to make decisions. You need to train your body that even if you don't make changes, you are deciding consciously the reasons why you're not making changes. I hope that I said it better that way. All right. Remember to visit our website, thecreditrepairshop.com. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. And until next time, thank you.